It's not often we get a new 5th scale car on the market. Even rarer is getting something like this, the new Traxxas XRT. Running an 8S ESC, sporting 24mm wheels and riding on an extra wide set of arms, Traxxas's answer to the Kraton 8S takes a much different approach to the large-scale Truggy category than their competitors did. Most manufacturers have taken existing Truggy's designs, scaled up their parts, and built an enlarged version. Traxxas, meanwhile, has seemingly taken their already proven X-MAXX, lowered it, widened it, stiffened it, and christened it a Truggy. Or, if you'd prefer, Arma made their 5th scale like this, and Traxxas did this. So which is the better approach to making an oversized Truggy? Scaling up a small car, or squishing something you already have? I'm sure that you'll want us to drive it to find out, but first, some nerd stuff. Because despite this thing's straightforward appearance, it's a very cleverly designed thing under the hood. For example, Traxxas says that half of its components are shared with the X-MAXX. Sharing parts with its older brother means that existing aftermarket parts will still work on it. Supply lines won't be overwhelmed with new manufacturing for all you early adopters, and your local hobby shop doesn't need to double its wall space to make room for new parts. These parts are mostly plastic as well, meaning those replacement parts will be cheaper. I'd wager that this is going to be easier to work on than most 5th scales in general, as the X-MAXX that it borrows from is one of the most mechanic-friendly cars we sell. Overlapping plastic parts on both chassis give them rigidity while still being easy to remove, unlike the massive aluminum plates that require a hammer to disassemble them. The car has a thoughtful blend of flexible materials and shockingly dense components that'll bend and flex, but only when it's meant to. Well, hopefully. More on that later. The snazzy new clipless body has air channels built into the roof, and the chassis has exhaust vents so dust doesn't collect in the plastic tub. The motor has double the cooling, and the wheels half the rubber compared to the X-MAXX. This all makes it a more athletic alternative to the X-MAXX. It'll run cooler, and it won't get pizza cutter tires. The batteries are the same massive 6700 mAh packs that its siblings use, but in a much tighter tray to keep the CG static. These trays are clearly designed very specifically for these packs, as the fit is very tight. Thankfully, the 14.8 volt 6700 milliamps are about as big as a battery can get, so anything else you may want to fit in there will probably fit. All of this is to make the car lower and tauter. Compared to a monster truck, it should handle like it's on rails. Well, that's the idea of a Truggy anyway. To find out if it works, we had to take it to a wide open place and let it stretch its legs. Hit it. Slap. No, you can do more than that. More gas. Yeah. you can do more than that. It's a Traxxas car, don't be afraid. That's it. Nice.
Holy smokes, I didn't hit the tree, did I?
No, you didn't.
You hit something hard.
He landed on the down
Hey, turn the wheels straight. Alright.
Hey, you chilling?
Oh yeah, we're chilling, we're good.
Full disclosure, I normally don't like big cars. I find anything over 8th scale heavy and cumbersome. They take too much room in my trunk, in my closet, and on the track. Their parts are usually expensive, and they don't fit on the workbench very nicely. Generally, they're just not my style. The exception to this opinion of mine is the X-MAXX. I love a monster truck that can just decide, I'd rather be over there, and jump whatever trail it's on, crushing whatever is in front of it, to get where it's going. I like the way it's put together. I like that its parts are cheap. And the XRT really seems to be the X-MAXX's younger brother in that spirit. It's lighter than any other 5th scale I've ever driven. Its CG makes it feel planted, and even though I seldom drive anything this big, I was able to throw it around without issue, thanks to its wide stance and mountains of torque. It seems very happy at high speed. It almost feels like it gets more stable the faster you go. Throwing up mountains of sand at the foot of a ramp and keeping on the throttle all the way through a jump is a completely viable strategy in this thing. It's so easy to drive, in fact, that you kind of forget how big it is. It's easy to mistake it for a 10th scale in this footage, but you have to remember it's twice that size, twice that weight, and in many cases 4 times that power. This monster was going an easy 50 miles per hour, and at one point we jumped it nearly 30 feet. That's why we can firmly say that it's built like a tank. Oh, well, not the log.
A little too wide.
That was remarkably wrong. No. I think I would have appreciated a faster servo in it, as well as a chassis brace. At the end of our admittedly hard run, we noticed the chassis flexed enough to kink the center driveshaft a bit. Weirdly, it didn't seem to impact performance in the least. A testament to the thing's durability, I guess. I'm sure this will be an optional extra in the future as an aftermarket company jumps on it, but overall we were deeply impressed by the Traxxas XRT. If you want something big that doesn't act as size, I highly recommend. If you need to eat terrain in large open spaces, but don't feel like doing wheelies and rolling over on every ramp, come see the Traxxas XRT in person at Pacific Coast Hobbies in Lomita, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on all the season's major releases. Until next time.